nation. A good number of books have been written about Cyprus and its recent history. I'm sure most of them are here. But they've tended to be dry and academic, often by outsiders. They offered either a colonial or a Greek/Turkish perspective. I felt what was missing was a book recounting the experiences of real people living through the events in the mixed villages of rural Cyprus, and then as immigrants here in the UK, my parents and their generation, straight from the donkey's mouth, so to speak.
Thank you.
Forgive me. People who remember the time when Cypriots coexisted in a united homeland, albeit under foreign rule, a time before division took root and the island's culture became polarised. I felt two vitally important periods hadn't been properly examined, nor how one was inevitably to lead to the other. I'm referring to the Ochre struggle against British colonialism and for enosis in the mid-1950s, and the events of 1974 with the Greek junta-backed coup against the president and the subsequent invasion by Turkey's army. I wanted to enable others to appreciate this wonderful little nation, to understand how and why it was ripped apart, but to do so without taking sides. I wanted others to care for, as I cared for, and to empathise with the island's people as a whole, not as Greeks or as Turks, but as themselves, as Cypriots. Of course, it's impossible to write about Cyprus without touching on politics. In every village coffee shop, politics was, and presumably still is, the most popular topic of conversation, local, national and international. And of course every villager, whether a farmer or a tailor, a barber or a bus driver, considered himself an expert. One of my favourite characters in the book is Vassos, owner of the village coffee shop and a believer in communist doctrine. That doesn't prevent him from having a deep friendship with Babaglioris, the village priest, another prominent character. Their ideologies may appear diametrically opposed, but neither man allows that to affect the strong bond between them. The unbearable pain of the priest, some 20 years on, presiding over his best friend's funeral at the All Saints Church in a cold and wet Camden town, brings home that unbreakable bond. Politics was very important to most Cypriots, religion too, but love and life more so. There's a message there somewhere. I hope readers will get a taste of the island's unique culture, its food and wine, songs and expressions, traditions and superstitions, the distinct vernacular spoken by all the people, their daily struggles and preoccupations, thoughts and motivations. I also hope readers will get a deeper understanding, as I did during my research, of how this seemingly intractable Cyprus problem came to be, how all sides had their role to play in sowing the seeds of destruction and division, how no one is without blame, and how all have suffered and continue to suffer. I hope readers will be able to relate to all the principal characters and appreciate their differing perspectives, young and old, male and female, Christian and Muslim, left and right, religious and not so religious, Cypriot and non-Cypriot. Only the real extremists on all sides come out of this story without any credit, but like them, I make no apologies. Coming from a divided homeland eats me up, and I think it eats up most Cypriots. My way of dealing with it was through writing the Cypriot. It was a cathartic process. I was able to exercise old demons, and by doing so, understand my place in the universe and how best to play my role within it. Like all true Cypriots, I dream of a day when our island is whole again. But only by coming to terms with the wrongs of the past can we begin to hope for a united future. And that's another thing the book tries to offer. Hope. I was interviewed a few weeks ago on LGR, a community radio station, and the first question the presenter Vasilis asked in his heavy Cypriot accent was, "So, why a love story? Is it a gimmick?" It put me on the spot, but it was a good question. I've noticed how love stories often appear to be grafted onto disaster epics to ensure they appeal to important sections of the market. Think of films like Titanic or Pearl Harbor. The story of the lovers is almost incidental to the horror going on around them, but nevertheless, the doomed romance helps bring home the tragedy. In the Cypriot, the love story isn't incidental, it's pivotal. The love between Funda and Andonis represents the relationship between the peoples of Cyprus, powerful external forces working through misguided local extremists. Crikey, what have I done? Powerful external forces working through misguided local extremists. I don't know what I've written there. Got in the way of them being together. But isn't Cyprus the island of love? And didn't someone once say that love conquers all? Thank you.